Okay, so we are live now. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you're joining in from. I know we are a minute early, so let's just give it a couple of minutes to allow others to join in, and then we'll get straight into this webinar. We are extremely excited to showcase what we've been building. Let's just wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, I think it's time. So let me repeat. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. I'm Satya. I head product here at Netdata, and I'm also the Chief Business Officer. But I have with me here Stelio, who's going to do most of the talking on this webinar. He's our lead engineer on the Netdata agent team. And we are extremely happy to welcome you all to this webinar on live functions related to database and network monitoring. So again, without any further ado, let's get started. Let me start off very quickly with the agenda. Uh, of course, the introductions are done. We have Stelios who will be, taking us through a demo of all of these capabilities. We'll touch into database performance monitoring with running queries, visibility into slow queries, etc., which is an enhancement to our existing database monitoring offering. Also, some walkthrough of our network device and live function monitoring. So you can also look at interface statistics and other details related to what's happening on your network devices, which is again an addition to what we've added. A sneak preview of some of the capabilities that we are going to release in the coming weeks or months. And then finally, some time for Q&A. This doesn't prevent you from asking us any questions during any time during the webinar. I'll try and post those to Stelios and myself at the right time. So please make this interactive. Feel free to ask us any questions during any time. Let's get started right away. On the first topic, this is related to database performance monitoring. We've been talking to hundreds of customers who are extremely happy with what Netdata delivered in terms of per second metrics, all of the alerts that we shipped, the granularity, the troubleshooting related tools that we've released, everything focused around metrics and logs. But we also identified that some capabilities around looking at exactly the queries that are either slow or running on the databases. It was not very easy to visualize on Netdata, or we didn't provide all of the data on our dashboard. So along with our 50 plus database integrations with which you can monitor any of your database systems, which of course are automatically discovered and put in on your dashboards along with alerts, we've added new capabilities of visualizing these queries, all the running queries or just the slow queries. And I'll hand it over now to Stelio to take us through a very quick demo on how this solution looks and how you can try it out on your systems. All yours, Stelio.
Thank you, Satya. Hi, everybody. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
All right. So here we are in our Netdata demo space. What we're viewing is metrics, as you know. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through quickly on the left side panel and go to integrations. Now, Satya mentioned integrations before. A lot of you, I'm sure, know all about this. But let's go through some of the integrations that we have here for a lot of databases. Today, we're going to focus a little bit on Postgres. And let's see an overview of what this module provides. So this collects the activity and performance of Postgres servers, replication statistics for each database, table, index, and more. You can see all the details here. In the metrics tab, you see what exactly are the metrics being collected, right? And this applies to all the integrations we have for other databases as well. Along with the metrics, we have predefined alerts that you can see here, the name of the alert and on what metric it runs, how to set up your database collector, and what kind of permissions, this is important, what kind of permissions you should grant the Netdata user so they will be able to connect to the database and collect metrics. And of course, there is a troubleshooting section on when you think things should be working and not. Of course, you can go to the configure and automatically go through the UI to configure your database. So let's see now in our Netdata demo space, we have a collector here. We can go to charts and Postgres. And we see here what we already know, metrics collected, connections, transactions, queries, throughput, and all the things you would expect to find from the collector. Now, the data collection team, since version 2.9, reworked the entire framework for this collector and actually the entire Go collectors. So they provide functions that can run a specific command to the database and present results back. And this is what is changing with this version 2.9 going onwards. So we're going to hit the live button on top. Now, a lot of you may remember this as being named top. And historically, it was named top because it would expose exactly this. This is what you'd expect if you SSH to a machine, in this case, a VM called Netdata parent, and run the top command. And we can see that it returns the top command as you would see it on the dashboard. So let's see for the databases now, what new functions expose and what functionality. One of the things that we want to see, of course, is the running queries. And if we press the button here, we see exactly what queries are running. Of course, this is a demo database, so it just runs a specific query here that we can see. One of the things we want to see also is the top queries. For the purpose of this demo, we have not configured top queries in this database. So you see what happens if you have not gone through all the steps and configure it. So hitting top queries here, you will see, I'm not sure it's readable. It says PostgreSQL cannot provide parameters. No query statistics extension is installed. So you have to take action on this. But we can go to another database that we have here to actually see it. Let's see the running queries for the Oracle DB. And you see here that it is queries are running. If we hit the play button, you will see it auto refresh, and maybe another query will come in, and we'll be able to see what queries are actually running. And we can also go and execute. So here's another query that came in, and we can execute the top queries here. And we see what queries are running. And you can see at the bottom here, we have several options to filter by. So we can filter top queries by disk reads, for example. This didn't work. Let's try CPU time. Let's try Redis. Yeah. So what changed in version 2.9 going forward is that functions can now be registered not only by Netdata agents themselves, but the collectors that we have. And these are exposed in the section here under functions, databases, for example, and you can visualize it over here and be able to troubleshoot it. That's what I wanted to show on this, Satya.
Thanks, Telio. It's a little bit of Murphy's Law, right? I mean, something or the other will always throw up an error, but I think that's perfectly okay. So the gist of this capability is within data, we want to reduce the context switch when you're troubleshooting an issue. When something goes wrong, of course, we have the metrics data. Of course, we have all of the logs that you can look at. In addition, now with these live functions, you can look at what's happening not only with your databases, but on your system level, network level. So when you're troubleshooting an issue, you don't need to worry switching between systems, logging into terminals, running commands, etc., which is crucial in reducing the time to resolution. But also, all of these functions are accessible by our Netdata AI ecosystem. So when you ask Netdata to investigate a root cause for an outage or a performance bottleneck, Netdata will try and gather the necessary data for it to identify or pinpoint either the exact root cause or a bunch of potential root causes. So that's the whole idea. It makes, of course, your life easy as users and customers of Netdata, but also for the AI ecosystem, this is a great boon in terms of the value that it adds.
So one more thing, Satya, I wanted to mention is that, of course, the running queries and the top queries are built in at the moment. You cannot change the query that is being run, also for security reasons. One can build queries using the generic SQL collector, but that will not provide functions. You can develop functions, and we have documentation for the functions protocol. I can quickly share. So we have the technical reference for this. There are two ways to create functions and provide output. The one is the simple table format that this is what actually the top queries and the running queries or slow queries use. And the other one is the log explorer format. So if you have logs and you have to navigate back and forth, this is what you should use. And all this documentation explains exactly what needs to be done. Of course, if there is a functionality that is very crucial to our users, they can reach out to us and request a new feature that we can add.
Thanks, Telio. If there are any questions specific to these database-related topics, we're more than happy to address them, either now or towards the end of the call. I don't see any pending questions. So let me further move ahead to our next agenda topic, which is around the network devices live functions. It's around the same, uh, let's say, criteria, idea of how we've introduced also live functions for network monitoring. As you may all know, we have hundreds of network device profiles. So Netdata can automatically discover network devices in a certain network with certain credentials, start assigning them to different profiles depending on the vendor, the type of the device, and put them on your dashboards like we do with system level functions. Uh, but now we have also enabled to start off with the interface statistics function, which is again very useful when you're troubleshooting a network related issue. If the bandwidth on a certain interface or just the operational state of an interface has gone down or up, and all of those details, which are not really time series data, they are live data that you basically get to visualize. This is something that we've added. And again, Stelios, if you can do the honors to quickly show around how these functions can be accessed, what are the various data information that they provide.
Sure.
Let me just...
So we are in our Netdata demo space, and you can see here you have the servers and the network devices. Let's go into the network devices and pick the first one, Cisco. And I have selected the Postgres filtering. So we have the network device. Of course, here you can go down and try to select.
Stelio, yes. There's just a comment which says the font is still a little too small. If you could just maybe zoom in a little bit. Yeah, that should hopefully help our users look at this better.
Okay, sorry about that. We can look, for example, at the traffic of this network device. We can possibly group by interface, and we look at the traffic per interface right here. And what we can do from now, because as I mentioned earlier, every collector now provides the ability to register functions to the agent and execute them, we can go to the Live tab and do this. So hitting the Live tab, we need to go to the filtering and go to the SNMP interfaces, which is automatically populated under the functions. And we can select the Cisco. It is selected. Let's collapse the charts on top. And we can see live all what's happening on this interface. Now, if you go to metrics, you can also see all this, but this is, you cannot see them in one chart. You have to go to different charts to see packets, for example, and packets in, packets out. If you click here, you get more information on this line, and you get a live view on what's happening here as traffic flows in and out. So this is how you dive in, and yeah, and of course, new interfaces come in as they refresh and have more traffic. So this is how you can leverage the live functionality of this function to troubleshoot what's going on in your network. Satya.
Great. Thanks again, Stelio. So the idea again was, of course, with the Netdata network profiles or the SNMP profiles, we were already gathering hardware level, network level for firewalls and stuff, VLAN level and other kind of metrics, which was good enough. But many of our customers basically said, hey, if we need to look at something that's happening on the device, we basically need to log in to the device, take a look at separate details. So this is just the beginning where we thought the interface statistics is one of the most important things that most network administrators look at. We'll keep adding more functions as and when requests come in. So feel free to try these out. And if you have recommendations or suggestions on other functions that we can add for network device monitoring, we are more than happy to implement those. We are on a continuous path of improving observability and the visualizations that we provide to our customers. So we'll be happy to get any feedback from your side. Let me just quickly take a look if there are any questions. Okay, most discussions are still around the full screen and how the screen is blurred. Unfortunately, I think our streaming systems sometimes do make it difficult to very clearly look at stuff. Let's see if I can improve something while we are going through the next section. Like I mentioned, the next topic on our agenda is more an early preview, a sneak preview of topology functions, which is network topology, but also network connections between your services, the Netdata topology. I know many of our users have asked, hey, it's quite difficult to sometimes visualize where are my child agents, where are my parent agents, how are they connected, and so on and so forth. So we have also implemented, as part of the topology functions, different ways of visualizing not just network devices and how they are connected at layer 2, layer 3, but also layer 7 in terms of how applications are communicating with each other. And then, of course, the Netdata functions. And I think this is something where we'll have a dedicated session on net flows. I think the webinar is planned for next month or something like that, where we also want to show how we have implemented net flows and how you can look at your network flows between, your IP endpoints and just have full-fledged end-to-end network performance monitoring, like some of the tools call it. So I know, again, Stelio, this is just going to be a sneak preview, but it'll be great if you can share your screen real quick and show some of our topology functions.
Yes, absolutely. So under the Netdata function, we have already the Netdata streaming. This is a way to visualize on your network what children, how many children, and what children are connected to one of your parents. So this is Netdata parent in our demo setup. We have several children connected to it. And below that, you see there is a new topology section that actually uses the same information to visualize it in a different way. So visually, this is perhaps more appealing to many people. So you get all the dots for all the children that are connected. So this is a Postgres VM that we explored earlier. And inside the Postgres VM, there is a Postgres database, and we showed some metrics from there. And this is the Netdata parent, so everything connects there. So if you roll over the node, you see information about the node, the connection about the node. You can move it around to visualize it however you do. You can rotate it and stuff like that. If you press on it, you get a pop-up with all the information you would see from the previous function as well in a more visually pleasing way. And you get some extra information on this that you would get also from the other function, like retention and streaming path, the outbound connections, and all that. Now, on top of that, we have the network connections. So this is the streaming, the topology streaming is, as the information button here shows you, Netdata agents, relations with Netdata agents, parent-child. So it uses the metadata exchange by the agents to provide this layout. So the network connections will actually, if we go to Netdata parent, you see that you are in the connections topology. So you have the Netdata parent, which is owns this TCP connection and actually shows you TCP connections from the Netdata parent. So you have a lot of inbound connections. Of course, these are children connected to the parent and an outbound connection going to cloud. So this is how we think we will visualize this. Of course, we're still working on it to make it more useful. And we have the SNMP collector. Of course, this is a demo site, and it doesn't provide any connectivity between the nodes, but you get an idea on how things would be presented here. As Satya mentioned, there will be a dedicated webinar on this, a demo. So we have, we provide all the information here needed. This SNMP collector is working closely with the SNMP collector for the metrics, and it just provides additional functions that will, present this topology in this way. And again, here you can zoom in and out to be able to visualize everything here. Now, this is, of course, going to layer 2 and 3, as Satya mentioned. So we have to add ways to resolve these paths. And you can see here what available infer strategy we have been working on. And of course, we're trying to improve it because this is, it can be time consuming to do the resolution. So we have to be as fast as possible. So there are ways to make it fast, but there is always room for improvement, and we're working on it. That's it. Satya, if you have anything else you want to say here?
Yeah, I think, of course, right? I mean, this demo space does not show any connectivity between network devices, but in principle, all of your network devices, how they are connected, but also the endpoints, Netdata is able to infer how they are connected. So we actually, went through a bunch of papers that have been published around these topics. How do you actually make sense of multiple different protocols and then put together an inference strategy? I think once it's already available on your dashboards, although I still call it a tech preview, we are making continuous improvements. So if you have any network devices that you're monitoring as of today, you can go into the live functions, take a look at these topology functions, and I'm pretty sure it'll show you how your network devices are connected, but also based on different inference strategy, it'll also show you what are the endpoints that these network devices are connected to. And it's extremely useful because it also provides you details about the ports, interfaces, what kind of bandwidth that are associated with each of these connections. And what we are adding is the ability to see alerts if some link is broken. What's the bandwidth that is generally expected along these links, and etc. So those are, let's say, the bells and whistles that we would be adding soonish, and hence it is still in a tech preview. But yeah, I would highly recommend all of you to take a look at it, provide us your feedback, and also, of course, the thing that Stelios didn't show is the net flows. That's also a function that is available. So if you have any of your routers or maybe your firewalls exposing some of these network flows, you can already ingest them into Netdata and visualize the flows, based on various parameters. That's also something that will be very useful. But as promised, we will definitely have a dedicated session, because I don't think we'll do any justice if we quickly show that to you in a couple of minutes. So we'll have a dedicated session. And yes, I can't wait to show the entire capability to all of you. I actually see a bunch of questions pouring in, and let me start taking them one by one. So the first question is, I'm hosting multiple projects within one node. Can Netdata's database query monitoring uh, differentiate queries from different projects or databases? Short answer, yes. So we are able to identify the application that's potentially initiating these queries. You can take a look at it on the dashboard. So when you open up any of these query related functions on the dashboard, just give me a second. Let me stop the screen share. So it's just us and the questions. Yes, so it does show which applications have initiated these queries. Um, and even apart from that, there is more data that is available for you to differentiate, which projects are initiating these queries, which are the ones that are, let's say, the culprits if it comes to slow queries, etc. Thank you for that. There's also another question. It's around, are there any security concerns with Netdata having access to my database queries? Okay, this is, let's say, one of the reasons that we have specific permissions that you need to grant Netdata. It does not have access by default. So once you grant those permissions, we are obviously able to gather some of this data. But most importantly, since Netdata is a fully distributed solution, all of that data, even though it's queried from your databases, will remain within your infrastructure, which means on your agent. This does not, the data does not leave your infrastructure. So Netdata Cloud, even if you were using the SaaS solution, does not store any of this data. So the data will remain within your infrastructure. So I'm presuming, of course, if your database and the security teams are okay, and you need this information for your observability, you don't need to worry about where this data will be exposed. It's going to remain within your infrastructure. Let me see. I see a couple of more questions. Okay, I think this is a good question to Stelios. I think it's already something that you covered partially. Stelio, if you want to take a first jab at this, and then I can add if needed.
So at the moment, you cannot create. You can create. You cannot create a function to run a specific query. As I mentioned, you can use the generic SQL collector, but that will not be a function. We will. I think we can discuss it internally and see how we can provide this functionality. Unless you want to create your own collector and provide this function as well, that may be possible.
Yes, indeed. So in case you create a custom collector for artist X audio, for every collector that you create, you can also create your own custom functions and you can visualize them. And that collector could potentially expose a function that is querying a database table and putting that in an output format that we support. By default, you can have custom queries show up as metrics on the Netdata dashboard using our custom SQL collector. And of course, alert on them, just that the functions will need a custom collector for now, or you can request Netdata to add some additional functions associated with our custom SQL collector. So in principle, the answer is yes. With our native collectors, it needs work from us. But if you create a custom collector, yeah, you're free to create your own custom functions. Okay, the next one is actually not related to this topic, but it's a short one, so I'm going to take it. In fact, Stelio, I think this is your bread and butter. How do you install a parent on a Windows VM?
Well, can you install a parent on a Windows VM?
Can you?
Yes, yes, you can. It's not recommended. Generally, the performance is not the same as Linux, but definitely you can. We have customers that have done that, but in general, it's not recommended. But it will work. Yes.
Thanks, Telio. I think the next one is interesting. Can I add this view to a custom dashboard? The answer is yes. So all functions, all logs, all events, we've recently made it available on our custom dashboards. So in case you want to quickly show this, Telio, if you're okay, on a custom dashboard, or I can share my screen, whichever you...
You can go ahead and share, and I just got a message from our development team.
Okay, so let me just quickly show this, given that it's an interesting one. Okay, for those who have not looked at our custom dashboards recently, we've revamped this quite a bit. So when you create a custom dashboard, we provide a bunch of templates for server overview, disk overview, etc. But the most important thing is you can add metrics, you can add live functions. So I think just to show you on your question, so if I had, for example, a network connection topology view, let me select this is okay. Oh, sorry. So a network function, you can add it to the custom dashboard. You can then slice and dice it, have different selections. Yes. So anything that's visible on the Netdata dashboard, you can add into a custom dashboard.
So, Satya, just to go back to the previous question, the data collection team mentions that generic SQL supports indeed custom functions. So it can be done without actually creating a new collector.
Oh, okay. So that's the question. I put it on screen again. So our team is actively listening to this webinar. I'm happy about that. So yeah, we change our response, so it is already available. So you can very well create any custom functions. Thanks, Telio. Let me see. Okay, I think this is again a question related to network monitoring. If you're hosting VMs, is it then worth setting up SNMP services in the host to have a network map? This, I think, is also, it depends on your security posture and how your infrastructure has been set up. Yes, if your hosts do support SNMP and LLDP, that data will also be used in building the topology and the network map. But even in the absence of this, like I mentioned, we've gone through a number of papers. We have a way of inferring how the network devices are connected to your hosting infrastructure, your VMs. But it's based on an inference. Of course, if they support SNMP and LLDP and other protocols, it will not be an inference anymore, but based on these protocols already. That's a good point. To be very honest, I had myself not thought about this, but yes, it will show up automatically. Okay, so there is a request that's coming in from Costa, but I'll take that, I think, towards the end of the call. Yes, to show the net flow and the topologies demo. Yes, I will do that towards the end of the call. Let me look at other questions. I think we have one
So,
last one.
Satya, we got authorization to show that.
Yes, it was Costa's PC. So we have the authorization. We take the last question that I see on the stream, and then maybe do a very quick, a little bit more detailed demo on NetFlow and the topology. Okay, this question is, on one node, multiple websites are running based on PHP. So can we get details of website which can cause or affect the speed issue or any other issue? I think in general, this is more a holistic observability kind of a question. So of course, if you're running multiple websites on a server, you would have the ability to monitor each of these websites, but also at a web server level on how these are currently performing, how many connections being requested, what resources it is using, how many connections or how many requests it's able to process successfully, how many of them are running through errors. So you could, of course, look at each individual website and how they are performing. But if you're looking at which of these websites are impacting the bandwidth of my network, of my infrastructure, I think this will need to be put in holistically. So some metrics and observability coming in from your network infrastructure, some observability coming in from your system infrastructure, so the server that's actually running, and also at the application level in terms of your web servers and websites and how much traffic they are generating or they are receiving, and what it impacts the overall performance in your infrastructure. I don't know if that covers the entire answer. Stelio, if you have anything to add to that one.
No, I think you covered it.
Okay, I think that covers some of the questions for now. And given we've been explicitly requested to showcase the NetFlow and the network topology functions, let me know, Stelio, if you want to share your screen and do it, or you want me to do it. Let's do a quick demo on that one.
I can share, and I did not prepare this. Let me see here. So earlier we talked about the topology and streaming, and we just had the layout of the parent and children. Now we have a more complex environment here, and the SNMP is able to identify more nodes here and actually have the connectivity between the nodes, and you have more realistic data, in fact. So this is how it would look. And of course, the new thing that we have been working on is the NetFlow. So I'm going to hit the button and see what happens. So here you have a nice visualization of the globe as traffic flows in real time, and you can switch to different views here, the summary, the time series, and you get the full picture of what is going on. Bytes, packets, destination. You can click and get more information on this. You can have a country map. You can zoom in and out. You can just go in here in Athens and Greece. You have the state map. We have flow from, I guess, California. And you can even go to city map and you see what is generating traffic in real time. But again, as Satya, you mentioned, there will be a dedicated.
Yeah, I know. So in principle, guys, so for the network topology, if you can just go back to the SNMP topology in there, it may be good to select one of the inference. Yeah. So this is a better view. So as you can see, there is devices that support LLDP and protocols that allow us to show real connectivity. But we also have a bunch of other algorithms that we have implemented, which allow us to infer how the connectivity outside of what is known works. So to your endpoints, to your server infrastructure, and all of that, and also which switch ports or interfaces are connected towards these networks. So I think it's a very useful view, especially for a network administration team. And like I mentioned, the bells and whistles that we intend to add is to actually show what's the bandwidth on each of these links. Are any of these links broken? Do we have any alerts associated with these components, etc.? But also on the net flow, you can choose your source AS, your destination AS, choose the protocol, choose from what city, what country, any of the traffic is being initiated, and visualize what's happening with each of these, flows. This is something that was requested, uh, by a number of enterprise customers. And given that data is a distributed architecture, it makes some of the aggregation for us a little bit more complex while making it easy for our customers. So it's still, I would say, a work in progress, but we are extremely proud of the current version. And I think in general, it works. It's crisp, it's fast, it's performant, but we'll still be adding a number of other capabilities as we speak. So I would highly encourage and recommend all of you to use some of these capabilities and give us your feedback, because that's the most important thing. We want to make things easier for you, and nothing better than receiving your feedback and improving our product at the same time. Great. So I don't know if we have any more questions. We planned this session for 45 minutes, although it was scheduled for an hour, and we are hitting the 50-minute mark. I'm more than happy to stay on. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes if you have any further questions. But like I mentioned, we will have our webinars, which we usually plan every 4 weeks. We have a bunch of topics. We want to talk about open telemetry and how you can collect and ingest and visualize and alert on your custom application logs, or any logs for that matter, which would be one of the upcoming sessions. But also, we'll have a dedicated session on the network topology and net flows, as we mentioned multiple times now. Stelios, any final conclusion, summary from your side?
I think I want to reiterate what you mentioned already about AI and how AI will be able to automatically use these new functions to provide reports and do automatic troubleshooting. So this is crucial. Anything that is being developed and exposed as functions will be available to AI.
Absolutely. I think the end goal for Netdata is to make troubleshooting quicker, reduce the mean time to resolution, avoid any context switches. So we are doing everything within our power to, add the breadth to observability. So Netdata always had the depth, as in we were doing per second monitoring. We also collect more metrics than any other solution. Now the idea is we cover the adjoining pieces, which is network, databases, APM related to distributed tracing, and other such capabilities. So, yeah, I think we are on the right track, and we'll be happy to hear your feedback for us to make sure we are hitting the right chords when it comes to observability. Okay, I don't see any further questions. Guys, feel free to reach out to us on uh, Discord, community, but also to product. So we have a product at netdata.cloud. We're more than happy to get your feedback. Reach out to us in any form or pattern. We want to hear from you, and we really want all of you to try this out and let us know what you think about it. So I think that's all we had. So thank you, guys. Thanks, Telio, for
Thank you,
taking us
everybody.
through that demo. So thank you all. Have a good day. Bye bye.